These are comments that I've gotten throughout my whole life. So seeing this come up again as an adult, I was so triggered.
Represent your culture with pride.
The way that the media has portrayed Cape Verdeans, especially Cape Verdean women, throughout the World Cup is not an accurate representation, I would say, of the majority of Cape Verdeans, especially those that live in Cape Verde. And I want to have this conversation because it has nothing to do so much with features, but showing the broader picture. We can't expect people to know us based off of what they saw. So if they only seen light-skinned curly-haired girls, that's what they're gonna think our country has, and that's not the reality. And I said I was not gonna comment on this topic only because this is something that I've dealt with my whole life. I grew up the dark friend, the darker Cape Verdean, and people would always ask me, if I'm Cape Verdean, how come I'm dark? How come I don't have Cape Verdean hair? These are comments that I've gotten throughout my whole life. So seeing this come up again as an adult. And side note, last week I was at work and one of the nurses asked me what I was, and I told her I was Cape Verdean. She made a face. I asked her, like, oh, why did you make that face? She said, if you're Cape Verdean, why are you black? I was so triggered only because, like I said, as a child, I was used to that. But in the middle of the World Cup, for somebody to ask me that was a shocker. It was shocking to me, but also a reminder of why we should vouch for ourselves. Another reason why I wanted to talk about this is because although I didn't grow up in Cape Verde, the last decade or so, almost a decade, I've been going back to Cape Verde. I've traveled throughout all of the islands, and one of the biggest shocking moments for me was every time I got to a new island is how diverse we were. I'm used to seeing light-skinned Cape Verdeans all around me and me being the darker shade, etc. But when I was in Cape Verde, I've traveled to, I think, 8, whatever. I have like 3 more islands to visit, but a majority of the people in Cape Verde were either tan, dark, brown, anything but what I'm used to seeing, which is the light-skinned majority. Another point that I wanted to make is the World Cup was held in the United States. A majority of the people that attended, I would say, was from New England area, which we know has a huge Cape Verdean population, the biggest Cape Verdean population in the US. And a lot of these people tend to come from islands where people tend to be lighter, which goes to say that if you're only seeing people from particular islands that tend to be lighter, that means you're only going to see one type of Cape Verdean, which I'm not blaming the media and I'm not blaming the people, but I'm just here to be more informative in that sense. And another big reason why I didn't want to speak on this is because I didn't want to come off as a hater. I think Cape Verdeans are the most beautiful people on earth. That might be biased because I am Cape Verdean, but I think when darker Cape Verdeans ask for representation, it's more as we exist, we've always existed. And when you guys go to Cape Verde, don't think you're gonna see everybody light skinned with curly hair, because that's not the reality. And for the simple fact that we shouldn't have to prove that we're Cape Verdean because we come in a shade that you're not used to seeing, right? And throughout the world, I think that definitely varies as well, because when I traveled throughout Europe, it's been different. It's been totally different than what I'm used to seeing here. But that all goes to say, I don't want any brown-skinned, dark-skinned Cape Verdean child to see all this love that we're getting, right? And we're getting all these compliments, and they're seeing beautiful girls, but none of them look like them. That is a bad message to show to those kids, especially those that are going through teenagehood and they're going through puberty. The last thing I want is for one of those kids to say, well, none of them look like me, that means I'm less beautiful. If I can save a child from having that thought, then this is what this video is about. And I hope that I was mindful with my wording and that this message is taken as it's supposed to be taken. But when we want representation, when we say we want representation, these are the reasons. And I hope this video was somewhat helpful to someone.